times, and I'd hear this incredible music come out. And so I watched his whole show through that. He was with Mary Ford, and his son played drums. And at the end of the show, he came into the kitchen, because that, you know, you always went through the kitchen to get to your room, to the elevator. You know, it's that seat in all in the movies. And he just looked at me. He said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I can't get in there. I wanted to come and see you." And I said, "Could you show me one of your runs, this particular run?" And he showed it to me, and it was this, this all the way down. But he just did it. Somewhere there's music, da, 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 da. He just did it over and over. He had it down. Actually, he came backstage, he said, "Hold this, kid," and he handed me his guitar. And I thought my Les Paul was heavy. His, with this pulverized on, I just took it and it was like handing somebody, you know, a bucket of cement. So there I was holding his guitar, which was quite different than a normal Les Paul. Many years later, 20 years exactly to be exact, I was opening for Van Halen. We played in New Jersey at the Meadowlands Coliseum. Les Paul came backstage. After he came around, I had my picture taken with him and Eddie Van Halen. I said, "Les, you changed my life 20 years ago in Winnipeg at the Rancho Don Carlos." And he looked at me, he said, "Hold this, kid." It's the same line he said that he remembered the thing, and I told him that he'd show me his chromatic lick. So he's a great guy.
Dear one, the world is waiting for the sun.
Les Paul was an accomplished musician whose unquenchable curiosity would lead him to become a pioneer in the development of the electric guitar.
I went to a place called Beekman's Barbecue Stand, and the guitar was unamplified. I was singing with the harmonica into the telephone, and the car hops would come to me with requests and things, and this one fellow was a critic. And he says, "Red, we can hear the harmonica you're singing, but we can't hear your guitar loud enough." And I thought about it. I said, well, if I got my dad's radio, what I could do then, I could amplify the guitar. And I figured, well, I'll take a needle and a pickup, jab it into the top of the guitar, and turn it on.
But feedback from the amplified hollow body guitar was a constant problem. Initially, Les tried to plug up the body with socks, towels, and even plaster of Paris before successfully experimenting with strings on a steel railroad track. In the end, he settled on a 4x4 block of wood for the body of the guitar he would dub the log.
People hear with their eyes. And so I said, maybe if I put wings on this 4x4 and made it look like a guitar, let's go back to the club and play it the following Saturday night. I did. And there was a great reaction.
With a few major design improvements, the solid body electric guitar, which would bear the Les Paul name, was born. Ironically, Les had championed the instrument by which rock and roll would ultimately displace his style of music from the record charts. But Les Paul's inventive mind soon had a new focus: multi-track recording.
And I met the man himself once, Les Paul. It was a marvelous experience. I was in a studio in New York with him. And he's a lovely old man, and he's sitting there, and he's going, "What do you think of this studio, Ronnie?" I'm going, "It's marvelous what they can do today in the recording studio. Like, here we are in the control room. Look at all this." And he said, "Well, I invented that. I invented this, you know. You see that console? Yeah, that's one of my original modules that I invented, and all the outboard stuff. It's amazing. I didn't know this. He invented like 80, 90% of everything that's used in the studio today."
The sound that I get out of a guitar is probably one of the most important things in my career, and that is to get a sound that's very distinctive. I can pick up someone else's guitar, and in 2 seconds, I sound like Les Paul. And part of it is inside of you, that you crave that sound. And if you got some knobs to play with, in no time at all, you're going to go that direction.
You know what? There's no verbal way of, for me personally, a verbal way of expressing what it was that I